Hello and welcome to Intriguing Realms. Tonight we have a story about an apparition who repeats the events of her life. It's the strange tale of Betsy Bedlam. The story begins in the late 1990s. I was renting a room in Brighton, in a place called Regency Square. It was a basement flat, and my room was at the end of a long dark corridor with only my bedroom door at the end of it. There was always a creepy atmosphere in that corridor, and it always seemed to be colder than the rest of the house. One night I returned home late. As I entered the main door, before I could reach for the light switch, I saw it. A dark shadow passed through the wall on one side of the corridor, and then through the wall on the other side. It was all over in a second, but definitely not a trick of the light. My landlord returned 20 minutes later and found my terror very amusing. "Oh, it's just Betsy," he said. "She's in all the history books. Betsy Bedlam." He went on to tell me the whole story. Regency Square had been a military camp in the early 1800s. At that time, the apparition of Betsy was first seen by the soldiers encamped there. She was often seen on a pathway that ran alongside the military camp towards the sea, and was said to have staring eyes and a twisted face. This made her look like one of the inmates of the famous Bedlam lunatic asylum in London, and hence she received her nickname, Betsy Bedlam. After terrifying her victims, she would continue on her way and fade into the darkness. When Regency Square was built, one side of the square was constructed over Betsy's path. Yet she still followed the same route like a recording on a perpetual loop. She had been seen by many of my neighbors, crossing the hallways and rooms that lay on her path, and the path passed through our flat just outside my bedroom door. Betsy is a perfect example of the stone tape theory. This theory is a paranormal hypothesis that suggests that some hauntings are not the spirits of the dead, but are caused by the imprinting of emotional or traumatic events onto the physical environment. The theory proposes that certain materials can act like a recording device, storing the energy or vibrations of past experiences and replaying them under certain conditions. They can only be perceived by people who are sensitive to them and at the right time. Betsy's backstory is not known, but she is not a malicious entity. She is a recording, repeating her route up and down the square, unaware of the terror she has been causing for the last 200 years. This theory of place memory would also explain why hauntings often follow from traumatic or emotional events. In Hampton Court in 1541, Catherine Howard, one of Henry VIII's wives, was arrested accused of adultery and treason. She managed to escape her guards and ran through one of the halls, bleeding and screaming. She was apprehended and ultimately executed, but this event is imprinted on the building and replayed under the right conditions. She has been seen reenacting the scene for hundreds of years. Then there is the case of the Treasurer's House in York. Here, Roman soldiers have allegedly been seen in the cellars many times, marching through from wall to wall, but they can only be seen from the knee up, since the original Roman road was a meter below the basement level. They are a perfect example of the stone tape theory. People cannot interact with the apparitions, they are just seeing a historical event being replayed. Paranormal experts are divided on this theory. If it is true, then there should be a scientific method for recreating the conditions to replay such events. But to date, no such experiment has been successful. The reason for Betsy Bedlam's perpetual journey up and down the terrace of Regency Square is lost to history, although her image is not. She will continue to terrify those on her path when the conditions are right. For myself, knowing that Betsy meant no harm didn't stop the shiver down my spine whenever I crossed her pathway outside my bedroom door, just in case she happened to be passing at the time. Have you heard any stories that support the stone tape theory? Please send it to us at IntriguingRealms@gmail.com, and we may feature it on the channel. Join us next time and don't forget to like and subscribe. We publish new content weekly. Sweet dreams.